Welcome to XXIM YouTube channel. KASPACom is bringing Aave v3 on Kaspa.
It's just having your own bank with no limits.
Aave revolutionized decentralized lending and borrowing by allowing users to deposit crypto as collateral and borrow assets like stablecoins without intermediaries, boasting a record-breaking $70 billion in deposits. In this episode, Ankit sat down with Sione from KASPACom to discuss their upcoming borrowing and lending platform,
KASPACom needs to be more than just a marketplace.
along with a quick update from Sione about his experience with ProbiFi scammers and lessons learned.
If a project is raising funds without even building for more than a month or two, red flag at the moment.
In this video, you will get to see a very detailed demo and understand various variables at play. And lastly,
where do you see Kaspa in a couple of years' time, and especially Kaspa price?
I do believe that we're entering the real bull run now, the real banana zone.
Welcome to XXIM Podcast, your home of decentralization. Today I'm here with Sione. Good to see you, Sione.
Good to see you, Ankit. I'm really happy to be here. It's been a rough time till we got it working properly, and excited to show you what we got and share about the new updates that we have in KASPACom as well.
Yeah, I wanted to have you here to discuss your exciting new lending and borrowing protocol that you guys are building. But just for the context for what you just said to everyone, this is our fifth attempt trying to record this video. And, you know, it was just hard we had issues on both ends. But we are here. Usually it's third charm, but it's the fifth one. So Sione, I'm seeing you after 4 months, right? What's keeping you guys busy since we spoke last time?
Okay, so of course, the main thing that's keeping me busy is my wedding coming next week.
Congratulations! Yes.
Yeah. But on the development side, there's a lot of things going on at the same time. I actually gave a nice update inside the Telegram. We like to keep the alpha in the Telegram, you know. All the great updates and all of that. In the Twitter, we try to communicate what we actually have running publicly and stuff like that. So we don't also show all of our cards publicly. And also, if it's not ready, I don't want to say anything, you know. So we've been working hard in different things. Right now, we have the swap and the lending. I'd say they're ready when it comes to development. We're going to start auditing this week as well, or next week. We're going to start the audits. So we have a new UI UX coming. Actually, the current UI UX is it's good, but it's not perfect.
So for the Kaspa.com, or specifically to the lending and borrowing side? Lending
and swap. It's going to be defi.kaspa.com, and we're going to do revamp of the new UI UX, and we got a designer team that we're working with that they're actually doing our landing page. And we're doing also a landing page really nice that we can also because at the end of the day, Kaspa.com needs to be more than just a marketplace. So that's what we're adding. Kas Media, we're adding Kaspa Facts, Kaspa Learn, on ramp, off ramp. So we're trying to build something more robust. Yeah. So
on ramp, off ramp. That's a new one. Yeah. That was the first time I'm hearing it. Let's park that till later in towards the end of this video. We can discuss the on ramp and off ramp.
So there's some things that we want to make Kaspa.com something bigger and nicer. So there's a lot of new changes in the UI UX of the DeFi. We're making the landing page. And we're also working hard on the wallet to have it ready for mainnet. We have a Telegram trading bot for EVM that we're building. It's going to be also an aggregator, so you'll be able to swap tokens from ZeroSwap, from KASPACom, from Kaspa Finance, from.
Is it not similar? Is it similar to C-Swap, guys? So it's
I
yeah.
guess, yeah. I guess it's similar to them. At the end of the day, the whole idea here is to have a good mobile user experience where you can trade all tokens and not have limited. We can always put our own only, but we decided we want to aggregate and give the users all the options. And yeah, so we're gonna be doing that. We have our widget coming, which we already have some partners aligned. Basically, why is this widget good? Besides of like expanding the liquidity and more users, also the people who use it are be able to also get fees, 1% fees from trading. So there's a project that wants to put the swap on their website and people to buy their token for their website, they'll get fees from that as well. So there's an incentive, a good incentive for people to also use it.
What
And
is a
partner with
widget?
us.
Sorry, Sione. What is a widget? What is a widget?
A widget? Yeah, so a widget, when I say widget, I mean like an integration of our swap into their platform.
Oh, I
Okay, it
see.
can be as an iframe, it can be as an iframe, or it can be as a
I see.
as a in wallet kind of thing. So we're talking to Kaspa, we're talking to Castle as well. So we hopefully get it everywhere.
Yeah, I see. I see. So if any wallet like currency wallet or any other or Kaspa they wanted to integrate, you can just get the
Mhm.
DEX directly, which is pretty common, right? Like on Ethereum.
Exactly. So if we can give them that and give them a liquidity and give them also incentive of income, then it's a win-win for both of us, And so that's that. Actually, we have a partnership with a group of developers that they have good technology and high bot security, one of the best in the market, and all of that. So we're actually building with them our NFT marketplace.
With whom? I didn't quite catch it. With whom?
With a team of good developers. There's a good team of developers that we're like doing a collaboration with. Basically, they're building our NFT marketplace, which is looking good. Hopefully, it's gonna be ready for launch. Anyways, we might take our time with launching and mainnet. And yeah, so we don't want to just launch everything out of the bat without seeing the success of the chain. And that last thing is the same team of developers is actually helping us. They already have this platform, which is like a PumpFun platform, but with anti-bot, anti-rug, a lot of security around this platform that they build themselves, and this platform is already used in other chains. So we're just bringing this to our ecosystem with our name, and actually also the technology of the swap of the PumpFun. It's not Uniswap. It's something called Algebra Finance, which is a new swap mechanism, and it's supposed to be game changer, and it's supposed to be the best in the market right now.
Okay, what is it?
So
Man, you're just throwing things at us now. You're just making fun of us. So what is a PumpFun? About?
Moonbound, that what Nacho's doing.
Yeah, I thought it will be similar
So
to Moonbound, right?
So something like PumpFun Moonbound, but it has a lot of bot security and anti-rug mechanisms built in. This bot security is not something you can get everywhere. It's something they developed themselves, and it's expensive to actually get it, to pay for a kind of service like this. And we're getting it for free. So
Awesome.
it's a good deal.
Yeah, no, awesome.
There's a lot of products on the pipeline. Might even be too much, but since we're not using much of our resources on this, it's a good collaboration, so excited times ahead. It's not like we want to monopolize Kaspa ecosystem. But competition, it's good. I don't want to have a single project, a single product with no competition, because that means they won't have standards. We want to have the best of the best. We need competition.
So you are currently, if I look at the product suite, you guys do KRC20 as we speak, right? 7-to-1 NFTs. You're getting into DEXs. You're getting into lending and borrowing, which we are going to be talking today. then you're talking about pump.fun. Anything that we haven't covered off here?
Yeah, of course, the most important thing is the bridge. We need the bridge. So the next step is to partner with the community and partner with projects, even competitors, to basically, so they recognize our bridged assets. So the moment we start bridging Bitcoin, we start bridging USDT, USDC, whatever it is, we need. It's better if people, other apps, recognize it as USDT as well. So we're working on that end as well. Basically, that most of the assets, it's the whole goal of the bridge is to bring liquidity to Kaspa and to bring liquidity for the lending protocol, and so that's one of the main goals. It's also one of the important ones to actually make all of this happen. You need to use the stablecoins to actually start trading and have a proper DeFi ecosystem. So it's important.
Yeah. And when you're talking about bridges, you are specifically saying bridges for stablecoin, because you mentioned Bitcoin as well, right?
Yeah. So we can basically do any token for any other chain. So if we decide, if we need Bitcoin on Kaspa, we can wrap it. We can get a wrap Bitcoin from Base or Arbitrum and just bridge it.
Cool. That sounds awesome. I mean, I have like 1,000 things that I could discuss with you now on those 6 things you mentioned. But as I said,
the pipeline's quite full. The pipeline's quite full.
So as I said when we started this episode, I want to focus on borrowing and lending side. Before we get into that exciting discussion, though, in one of the previous recording we actually were discussing about ProbiFi. I don't know if you want to cover off that topic. Because I think it'll be good to get it out there, right? What happened with ProbiFi and
I also learned a bit from the last conversation, a bit more. So the thing is, there's a couple of issues with ProbiFi, of course, besides the fact that they rugged, but also things that made it hard to see. ProbiFi, not after I did some research as well, I saw the guys, they were good guys. They were talking to you. They were going on calls with you. They were explaining the technology properly. They were helping each other, helping people in other groups. In my main Telegram of KASPACom, in Kasplex, helping with development, helping with code. So they were like in the community, and that helped them be trustworthy, that's one thing that they did good, that it was hard for us to recognize. This wasn't a person that just spoke and left. They actually had good connections with people, which is what makes it really hard. The second thing is that they basically reached out to people in good thing to have a collaboration, a partnership, and basically, after going with calls and conversation with them that you think you're trustworthy, these people, they basically got a piggyback ride from this partnerships, basically by promoting them or collaborating them with their NFTs or with revenue, whatever it is. Basically, they got public marketing and assurance from important players in the ecosystem because they were helping each other, So how can we learn from piggyback riding? First of all, we shouldn't publicly on Twitter, at least, endorse any project that we don't actually have a working product already. If they don't have a working product and they have work on testnet, don't do that. Don't endorse. Don't help. If a project is raising funds without even building for more than a month or two, red flag at the moment. The moment they come and offer you a revenue share or a percentage of income or something from their project, that's basically they're paying you to shield them. That's basically they paying you to market them. That's how you have to look at these things. We have to learn from this and understand that doesn't matter how nice the guys are, we can't endorse anyone who we don't know. And they got to know them. They got to do calls with them and talk with them. I also got to know them. But even after we knew them, we didn't endorse them because we thought the fact that they're raising funds before was a bit weird. They don't have a working product. So we came, KASPACom did give the community a whitelist, but in that whitelist, we didn't do it publicly on X. We didn't endorse them. And we were straightforward to the community, telling them, listen, we don't endorse them. This is not for you to go mint. We know the community wanted to get a cheaper price to mint, so we gave it to you. But we don't believe in this kind of funding, and we don't endorse this project at all. So it was a quiet disclaimer. And people say that we're hiding our faces, and running away from responsibility. But we didn't do anything wrong that we should take responsibility for. Understand what's my platform and all of that. But I can control. We're trying to be as decentralized as possible. Rugs are gonna come. Doesn't matter what you do. So we just have to be alert who you give your money to. If there's people building 2-3 months with no product, don't give them money. Also the community have to learn more. And also another thing that we saw, that in the mint itself, listen, Lunatoshi took 4 months to mint out, to sold out. Their NFT had 6,000 pieces, even expensive price, and they sold like 2,500 in a couple of hours. That has to be a red flag already. You have to check who the mentors are as well. That part of the information is public. You can see who are they, what NFTs they have, and most of the top mentors were fresh wallet filled with with only ProbiFi. So they're basically generated hype and mint their own NFTs. It's regular rug.
Seems very regular. Yeah, it's very common in NFT space, especially.
Very common that people mint themselves and do themselves. It's like, listen, I minted some Unatoshi myself, but with my own money, I have more than 70 in Unatoshi. But I made it all with my own Kaspa that I made from trading different NFTs, that I made from Kaspas in general. And even I took some from my own cold storage, because I did wanted to mint and to keep the mints going. But, it's because at the end of the day, it's my money. I can do whatever I want with it, and it's not like I'm...
Yeah, they did rug 1.3 million Kaspa from the community, and it's unfortunate. But I guess as we've all have learned by being in crypto, that these things are very regular. I know it's the FOMO kicks in and people jump onto the projects right away without realizing. So I guess the only message that I will have is just be careful, do your research, take time. There's always a second project. So take your time, don't rush into it. But, thank you, Sione, I guess, for sharing your side of the story. It's always good to get it out to the public, which I'm sure you guys have done it already.
I just want, the community, the builders to understand their mistakes and learn from them. We're very careful with this when it comes to endorsements, because we are a platform and we can't retweet and endorse every second person that comes. So we have strict guidelines on what we do and how we do it, and with who we do it. I suggest everyone else thinking about their guidelines and what they do. I understand the fact that you want to help, and you want to help out other people, but if you have to understand sometimes that if it's gonna hurt your community, then you shouldn't. Like for example, no, you know what? We can just move on. We just have to be more aware and have strict guidelines when it comes to endorsements,
Yeah. No, that's fair. And I think it's a good, perhaps, segue to move on to some exciting stuff, which is why we are here. So why don't I quickly set the scene, and we then can go through the demo, because I really want to focus most of our time today on the demo itself. So Kaspa.com is bringing Aave V3 over to Kaspa, right? And Aave V3, for people that are perhaps not aware of, is one of the most successful DeFi protocols out there, right? Currently, they have $51 billion total value locked is over $51 billion, right? That's
They
massive.
make like $2 million of fees a day.
Yeah, they're huge, and they, I think, represent around 17% of entire DeFi ecosystem market share. So they're ginormous, right? They've been around since 2017, so it's not like something just popped out. They exist on a bunch of different networks now. So I just wanted to, I guess, get this out to people that haven't heard of Aave or perhaps haven't used it. And how successful they are, and now they're on the version 4, but you guys specifically focus on the version 3,
Version
which
3,
is
the most better one.
the better one, where I believe they introduced flash loans, which we have talked about. On version 3, they've done the rate switching, which is fixed versus variable loans. You can do that. They've got a few other things like supply borrow caps and portal. Like there's so much they've built on version 3. So I'm actually quite excited to see what you guys are doing with it.
Okay. So we'll just go over the platform itself, and we can go over the information. Now you see my screen, right?
I can see your screen, and you log in to your MetaMask.
Oh no. Okay, we're good.
Yes, this is magic. What we had gone through last 5 times was
that's
hell.
true.
It was hell.
Does it look good?
Yeah,
Does it look
it's
good?
totally
Like,
yeah, I can see it.
fine?
Yeah.
Good. So of course, like I mentioned, we're going on serious UI UX changes. We're gonna put this on another level. It looks really, really clean, but still the UI it's good and it works. So let's go over what we see here, right? So basically, how you can see here, we have the amount of money, total USD value I supplied to the protocol already. Basically, when you supply, you can decide if you want to use it as collateral or not. Collateral, when you use it as collateral, that means that it gives you basically borrowing power to borrow basically tokens, to borrow money. If you don't want to use it as collateral, you can still earn interest, but you won't be able to borrow against that, so it's your decision. It doesn't really matter if you leave it as collateral and don't use it yourself. It's fine. Nothing happens. So it's just for you to understand. Net worth is basically just how much I supplied minus my debt. My debt basically is how much I borrowed already. And this is just the percentage of how much of my borrow power I used. Borrow power is basically how much, it's just a percentage for the user to understand how much more he can borrow. So he has like another 60%. So like 56%. So it's probably another $5 million if 44 is 4 million. But it's just another factor, The important factor is the health factor that you see here. Basically, this tells the user how close is he for liquidation. If your health risk is lower than 1, you'll be liquidated. The protocol itself doesn't allow you to go under 1. What does that mean? That if I want to right now supply, for example, let's try supply. I have 482 BTCs.
Okay. Can I interrupt you a little bit? I was going to ask you some very basic questions. So I had 2 scenarios in my mind coming to this session. I thought instead of going through the demo, step by step showing the options, what I could do is I can ask you 2 simple questions, which is, hey, Sione, I've got some Kaspa. I want to earn some yield on Kaspa. Show me the way to earn some yield on your platform, right? How do I earn some yield? So, and the second question I have, which is the subsequent question, which is, now I want to borrow some funds from Kaspa.com. I have some collateral. How do I do it?
Okay, so basically, when it comes to earning, since it's Aave v3, the APY it's variable. It changes. It depends on the market condition. Meaning that if the asset is used a lot, supplied a lot, and borrowed a lot, then the APY will be higher. If the asset is supplied a lot but not borrowed, then probably the APY is lower. So it all depends on the market situation, you know, and on the market statistics and activity. Like you see now, for example, for Kaspa, you have 91 borrow supply APY because it's probably borrowed a lot, you know, and there's need. Of course, that changes the moment people. It's basically you can call it an arbitrage, and it changes all the time. So people see an opportunity and start supplying. You know.
Yeah. So what you're saying is this WCAS, which is the wrapped CAS. So can I just ask, on the left hand side, what you're saying, what we are seeing is the lending side, right? So so on the left you have lending, on the right you have borrowers, right? So you're borrowing.
Yeah.
So on the lending side, so if I'm lending my assets, so I have, let's say, Kaspa, and you obviously we converted to wrapped Kaspa on the left here at the bottom. If
it happens all behind the scenes. You can just go. I have my Kaspa. It happens behind the scenes. You don't have to have WCAS. You can just have Kaspa.
Yeah. Well, you have to bridge it to get to the layer 2 first, right? So that's
yeah. You have to bridge it to get it to layer 2, but that's on Kasplex side.
I have 100,000 Kaspa. I want to know how much can I earn based on the APY that you're showing me today.
So this is the APY.
So I can earn 91%.
Yeah, but like I mentioned, the moment the activity starts, so for example, I see this as an opportunity to get a high supply, right? The moment I start supplying and I start borrowing, then the moment I start supplying and I start borrowing, then basically the APY will go down, you know? So yeah, this number here shows you how much you're getting.
That's what I'm trying to get to, is to show people that it's a variable APY because it's managed between who's lending it, who's borrowing it, and it changes. And it's an active management of money. It's not like you leave it.
Look, it changed already to 0.71.
I see.
You see?
Yeah.
And the borrow changed to 5 instead of 80.
Right.
Quite dynamic, you see. It's all Aave, or the protocol. It's Aave does it, the configurations. So we didn't touch anything, which is safe. And we just changed the Oracle, the data provider, from Chainlink to Quex, our partners. And yeah, that's it. So that's how you supply. It's quite simple. You come, you click, supply it, and then you can just leave it there. You don't have to do anything else.
Yeah.
And when you supply, basically your wallet receives 8 tokens. 8 tokens. It's basically like a receipt that says this is how much I supplied, and that basically gets all the time. Gets the APY. That token produces the APY, and when you swap them, you receive more.
Yeah. So when you bring those token back, those receipts, you burn the receipts and you get your initial collateral back, right? That's the process.
Plus the amount of tokens you created.
Yeah. So what are the tokens you're looking to accept as collateral? I can see handful here. I'm sure you've gone through this. So do you know how many you're going to have initially and how many you're going to add on to it later on?
This is the current list of assets we're gonna start with. We're gonna start with on purpose with not many, mostly stable ones and not high risk besides Kaspa.
Okay.
And because there's a lot of things that we have to make it happen to work perfectly, like the bridge and all of that. So we want to keep the assets as concise as possible. See how the market reacts, the liquidity and all of that, and start playing with that later on. We can always change configurations, add tokens, remove tokens, change the loan value and thresholds of the assets. So it's quite flexible, and we can also listen to the community and stuff.
I see. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right now you have 6 assets that people can bring in onto the platform and start earning. And yield is the function of the market. One of the questions perhaps I wanted to ask you is where the yield coming from? And I think you've explained that, but to simplify it, it's coming from people that are borrowing. If they borrow, they pay interest just like a bank. Lots of differences, but I'm simplifying it obviously here. they pay some interest. Part of the interest goes to the protocol. Majority comes to the lender itself.
Exactly. So when someone borrows, they get also a token, a debt token that accrues values all the time. Every second accrues values. Basically, it's compound every second. So so the this numbers here of debt grows with time, and then when you come, you have to go and repay the whole amount. You have to go repay the whole amount, and the moment you repay, you finished. You don't have any more debt, and your health factor goes up when you close debts, because that means you have more supply than you borrow. The more you borrow, your health factor will go down.
Yeah. And the one obvious question people might ask, right? Why would I borrow, right? Moving more into the borrowing side now. Why would I borrow? And I think that's that'll be the first question comes to everyone's minds if they are new to DeFi. So how would you answer them?
So listen, there's different things. Okay. Why would I borrow? Let's, for example, I have 100,000 Kaspa. Okay. And I am earning yield, supplying it. Okay. So I'm happy. I'm getting yield with my Kaspa. I'm not using it. All good. But there's this token that I need money for, or there's this car I want to buy, or there's this, I need money to buy groceries this week. I didn't have payment from my whatever, and come here. You can borrow. You don't have to borrow the whole amount. If 100,000 Kaspa, it's $10,000. You don't want to be liquidated. You don't want to take risks. You can just borrow $2,000, pay what you need to pay, get what you want to pay. There was a huge tip on the token that you've been following for a long time, and you want to have some money, and you can double it quickly. There's a lot of things you can do. So you can just borrow 2,000, make your trade, hopefully profitable, repay it, and close the debt. You need to pay something this week, and you get your money in 2 weeks, because whatever your boss pays you a week later, you can get your money, pay what you need. Next week, you will get the money back, repay, and finish it. It's just having your own bank with no limits. Of course, there's risks, but it's decentralized, secure, and no one asks you questions if you are a thief or not, and if you are trustworthy or not, and what your credit score is. And so it's good. It of course has pros and cons everywhere, but I do think that there's more benefits into this than it's not. And it's also, it's liquidity. So basically, this will boost liquidity in the ecosystem itself, not just my own liquidity. In general, users can supply and basically get some dollars to use them and not lose their Kaspa. So it's a nice. I think it's one of the best utilities we can have.
Yeah. And the one you touched upon is really the real world utility, right? Like you need capital for whatever personal reasons. But then there is a big one, which is the arbitrage itself, right? There's a huge capital that gets deployed from these protocols to balancing the dexes, right? Which we call arbitrages essentially, right? And that's a huge one. So Sione, why don't we actually go through it? I have 100,000 Kaspas. How much can I borrow from that?
So Kaspa right now, I have 60% or 65% loan to value. Each token that we set inside Aave has a loan to value parameter. Of course, the stable ones are higher, like 90, 95.
What is loan to value? What is loan to value?
Loan to value, it's basically how much can I loan as collateral. If I give $1,000 in USDT as collateral, my loan to value is 90%. That means I can borrow $900 with that 1,000. That's our over collateralization. You can think about it.
Let's make it easier. Let's say if it's 100 Kaspas, so loan to value for Kaspa is 60%. So $60 I can borrow.
$60, 60 Kaspa. If Kaspa hits $1, when it hits $1, then then it makes sense. But yeah, it's USD value, not token value. It's not the amount of tokens. So
I see.
so USD value of 100 Kaspa is it's $10.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
So stable coins have like 95%. So, and there's also going to be assets later on that you can supply and not use as collateral, or supply, or you can't supply anymore. There's different configurations and things. But like, for example, if an asset is quite volatile, we might not accept it as collateral for ourselves, and also for the protection of the user. You know, if the user starts using meme coins to use as collateral and they crash, basically they're probably going to go under 1 in their health factor and lose all their money.
Okay, I can provide some collateral if I need to borrow some capital, right? So could you go through the process? How would that process look like if I want to borrow some money and I have, let's say, 10,000 Kaspas?
Okay, so right now I supplied $12 million. Okay. And I have it all as collateral. And I already have a $4 million debt. Right now, I want to borrow another $5,000. Yeah, in USDC. I go to USDC, I click borrow. It's quite straightforward. I write an amount that I want to get, $5,000. My health factor updates, as you see here. Let's, for example, if I want to borrow, let's go higher. Just to show you guys, 1 million USDs. My health factor goes down because I'm using more of my borrow power, and I'm getting closer to the threshold of liquidation.
I see.
Yeah.
Over 1, health factor is safe. Less than 1 triggers liquidation.
Yeah. So if you want, I can touch about how liquidation works.
Yeah, while we're waiting for it to process on Kasplex. It's just gone through it. Cool.
Fast. So basically, you see everything changed and it's updated. So basically, like I mentioned, Aave doesn't let you to borrow more than lower than 1 health factor. For example, just to show you, if I want to borrow Bitcoin, okay, and Bitcoin USD value is big. So let's say I borrow 30. Actually, I put the max value here that I can't, that I won't be able to borrow more of the value that but if it happens, if for example, I do 40, you see, okay, let's do 45. Your simulated health factor is under 1, meaning you could be liquid at any moment. It was a warning. Even if I want to do it, I'll show you, it will fail.
Right.
But it's failing because Aave doesn't let you borrow more than, to go lower than your 1 health factor, so to keep the user safe. And also Aave itself, the protocol. But what can happen is if you borrow a lot and your health factor is 1.5, okay, which is low, and then Kaspa crashes 90%, 50%, that means probably your health factor will go under 1 automatically, because the market adapts. You know, the protocol is live 24/7. It gets updated all the time. So he knows the price went down. He knows that your USD value of collateral is down in half. And then it will put you under 1, which is not good. But what happens? The protocol doesn't liquidate you automatically. The liquidation comes from the community, from outside, from bots that do it, because they have the incentive to do it. Their incentive is to liquidate users for the safety of the protocol, and also they receive money in return. They have a small fee that they receive after liquidating someone. So that person comes, liquidates. To liquidation, he needs to basically repay his debt.
Okay.
Repay his debt. So they have to like take from their own pocket, repay the debt of the person, and then they receive the collateral, and they receive a plus on the amount, a specific amount of payment for the incentive to liquidate. Usually, you know, the protocol providers, the deployers have a bot mechanism to liquidate, but it's an open market, so anyone can do it.
I see. So where can we see that process? Like, Can you show us how would that look like if
It's not in the UI. It's you have to do it with a backend with code or with or directly in the smart contract. When the contract is verified on the Explorer, you can connect your wallet to the Explorer and interact with the contract directly there.
Oh, I
That's
see.
how it is in Etherscan. That's how all the scanners are. So basically, you can interact with any of the contracts functions through the scanner. You don't have to go to the UI UX, and liquidation is interactive from there. You don't have a liquidation UI in the protocol interface.
Yeah, I want to know more about the liquidation process, like how, because they are overriding your Aave smart contract, right? Because somehow there is something triggering on the smart contract and saying if the value drops below 1 health factor. So they are obviously monitoring the health factor for each and every borrower, and then they're checking minute by minute. I'm sure they're using their own oracles as well. And then if that happens, then you guys, or rather Aave's smart contract, allow them to kick in their liquidation process, right?
So basically the Aave smart contracts everything's there. It's data, right? So first of all, the process is basically the people that are in charge of liquidation or do the liquidation. They're always probably every second scanning the users that interact with the contract. There's a request, there's functions that give you the whole list of the users and stuff like that. They get that. You get the list of the whole users. You have the list of the users with their health factor, and they go one by one. They see that someone has a health factor less than 1, and get the assets that they need to repay the debt. Get your liquidation bonus that you see here, 5%.
Oh, I see.
Each asset has a different liquidation bonus, and repay illusion bonus, and then what happens with the asset of the user? He loses the asset of the user. The user loses his assets. Yeah, he loses his collateral. In the end of the day, because he took too much loan and didn't pay his debt. Basically,
I see.
It's for the safety of everyone,
Yeah, and I'm sure, this is a standard protocol that Aave uses as well, I think. But what I like to know is how this process on Kaspa will work, because it's slightly different and the ecosystem is rather small compared to obviously Aave or Ethereum ecosystem. So I think it'll be good to touch upon that perhaps. But just circling back to health factor, are you using the same health factor as Aave does with the liquidation threshold of 82.5 or something like that?
So the thresholds, it's something that we decide.
Okay, you can change it.
Yeah, we can change it. It's our configuration. That's one. So on one end, we want people to use it and get liquidity and have borrowing powers and all of that. On the other hand, we want to protect users as much as possible. So we have to find the balance there. Also, the loan to value, it's configurable, and we have to find the balance. The health factor is not configurable. The health factor it's Aave's algorithm, but basically, it depends on the threshold that we set on each asset. And at the end of the day, we want to keep it as safe as possible because Kaspa can be a volatile asset, but the rest are relatively fine, And the process is the same. The contracts are the same. We didn't touch or change anything on the contract sides. So it's it's quite similar to what's happening in Ethereum. And liquidity and everything, it's less. So that's why there also another part of the protocol is supply caps and borrow caps. So to keep a limit and to start, good, we put small caps into all of them in both. And then if needed, we slowly grow the caps more and more. So the protocol doesn't go out of control,
What do you mean by small caps?
I mean that we started, but we can start for the whole protocol can only have 5 million USDT supplied. If there's more than that, you can supply more. That's just how it is. We start with small caps in general. So we see how the market conditions are, how the activity is, because like I mentioned the other day, the APY and all of that depends on the supply and borrow. So if we leave them open until I don't know what, with no limits, then this balance might not even be reached. We can someone can come supply 30 million USDT, but no one is borrowing USDT.
Yeah. So I asked you 2 questions initially. I have 2 more, which we can go through quickly, right? So let's assume I borrowed $600, any asset, and I've provided $1,000 worth of collateral, right? $600 I borrowed, $1,000 worth of collateral I've supplied, right?
Yeah.
Now the price of asset goes up 20%. The collateral goes up 20%, right? In that scenario, what happens to the borrower, right? So that's the first question. Second question is the same, but if the price of the collateral drops by 20%, what happens? Because I think you've explained to us, but I want to just make it concrete with the example of dollar values.
Okay. So basically, if I supply $1,000, depends on the asset you supplied, you receive different loan to values and different thresholds. So it varies how much amount of USD you can borrow, but let's assume that you can borrow $800. Okay, that's your maximum. Let's assume, and you borrow $600, and then your collateral grows for 20%. That means that you will be able to borrow in total $900 instead of $800 or $960. Well, it doesn't matter exactly the number, but basically if collateral goes up because price of USD go up, then your health factor goes up. That means your borrow power goes up and you use less. Then that means you can borrow more.
So the health factor gets better, which is why I can borrow more in that example.
Exactly.
And that example considers the fact that the asset I borrowed is a stable asset, because then if the asset wasn't a stable coin, then that asset plays a role as well, right? The value of that asset.
So if of course this example doesn't work with stable coins because stable coins don't go up in value. So this is more for like when you're supplying Bitcoin or Ethereum, your collateral goes up and down with the price of the token.
Oh, no, that's not what I meant. I meant if the asset I'm borrowing is actually not a stable coin. In that case, that asset will move up and down as well, right? Not the one I'm providing. So let's say, right?
Yeah.
And that's where the health factor can change.
So good point. Basically, no. If you borrowed, the borrowed amount you borrowed, it's in USD value. So
but if I'm borrowing Kaspa, for example, Kaspa now goes up or goes down, not the actual collateral, but Kaspa that I'm borrowing. That also has an impact on the health factor.
Yeah, it's exactly it. That doesn't change the health factor. You know what? That of course, that does. Your money goes up. You have the Kaspa went up. It's Kaspa. It's not fake or something. It's the same Kaspa you will have before. So yeah, that went up. That means that your borrow power also went up.
In simple scenario, stables are fine when you're borrowing, but when you borrow a crypto asset that's not stable, then you have to consider that asset moving both ways as well.
Exactly.
That is a very important point. So the second scenario I was asking you, what happens in a very simple scenario? I borrowed, $600, provided $1,000 worth of assets as collateral. Now the value of the collateral drops by 20%. What happens to health factor?
Goes down, and it depends. It depends how much. Like it depends on the threshold and all of that, but basically your health factor will go down the moment the price goes down, and your collateral will go down. So it's everything connected,
Yeah, that's very cool. Sione, is there anything else we haven't covered off on the demo itself on the platform?
On the demo itself, the platform, you just have the facts, the markets, where you can see how much people supplied in total, how much it's borrowed in total, and all of that. You have the asset page itself, where you see all the configuration of the asset, the caps, and all of that, all the information. And yeah, no, at the end of the day, it's quite straightforward. We're trying to make it as simple as possible for the user. With the new UI, it will be even better. And yeah, so it's we're keeping it simple. You know, it's a good working protocol that's not complicated for the user much. It does have his risks, you know, but we're trying to limit them as much as possible.
Yeah. And you said you are bridging stables over from somewhere, right? So you're not going to be relying on Kasplex USDT.
They said that they were going to, but I don't know. There's nothing. There's nothing confirmed properly.
Yeah, Junie mentioned on the session we did 2 weeks ago with him. So he said that's going to be happening. So I'm assuming if that happens, you'll leave Kasplex or IGRA to bridge the stables, right? You wouldn't be doing yourself.
Yeah. If they're doing it, I understand that, but I don't. To be honest, I don't know what they're doing, and I don't know how they're doing it, and they don't have a good communication and transparency. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. You can always improve, and that doesn't mean that you're not trustworthy. But it's just I like to take care of my process and not rely on people.
You're still thinking of doing yourself, right? In that case,
so if they bridge native stablecoins and it's good, and they launch it before us and all of that, we might remove the stables from our bridge. But they're probably not going to bridge Ethereum or wBTC. And I think he spoke about Circle only, so they might bridge Circle.
No, he mentioned both. So he mentioned Circle. So just to reiterate what Junie mentioned on the episode, which I'll probably put a link here somewhere. He said they'll be doing a trial with USDC, which is a bridge version that would become eventually a native version. So that's with the USDC Circle. And with USDT, he said it'll be a bridge version. Through and through, it'll be a bridge version. Which KEF will take care of on the liability side. So that was what he said across both USDT and USDC.
I see. So like I mentioned, they doing 2 of the assets. We need 6, 5. So like I mentioned, if they have an official one, trusted one, good one, then I'll take it. I'll take what people use. That's the whole thing here. If the main stablecoin used is that one, we'll have to add it, and we'll basically we'll have a mechanism for people to basically bridge back the tokens that they bridged through us, so we don't have a fragmentation of stables inside the chain. And it's things that we thought of, and we're ready for that. But like I mentioned, I don't really know and want to rely on facts that are not well known yet. So
hopefully, we will have a session with Kasplex team very soon, and it's out in the public. So I'm hoping before the mainnet goes live, so that we can get some clarity around a lot of different things, especially around bridges. But I hear you, and I do agree. I think perhaps we need some more clarity.
Yeah, and like listen, if they want to do it later, they can do it later. But I just can't rely on things I don't know.
So I want to wrap this up. I wanted to ask you this question that I'm trying to ask everyone now. Where do you see Kaspa in a couple of years' time?
Yeah. Okay. So listen, I've been holding Kaspa since it was half a cent. And when Kaspa was 20 cents, I shielded and told my friends, this shit's going to the moon. Like, it's going to go up. I'm going to keep going up. And I was proven wrong multiple times. No one can predict price. But since Kaspa follows stock to flow, it follows close to the power law and all of that, we suspect that the graph it's up only in the long term. And as a new asset and small market cap, I do believe that we can see, I do believe that we're entering the real bull run now. The real banana zone. It's coming soon, the next 6 months. I do think we will be seeing Kaspa between 15 to 30 billion the next 6 months of market cap. That's my price targets. I'm not looking to liquidate and sell my Kaspa, but I am, I do have my strategy when shit goes crazy, to be disciplined at least as possible. But when it comes to long term, Bitcoin's been growing 50% for the past 15 years. I expect nothing less from Kaspa, even more. So I do think that it's good, that we have this minor capitulation, that we had this long-term accumulation. I don't think we're gonna be seeing these lows anymore in the lifetime. Hopefully, even when it crashes after, like the whole market. I mean, of course, for people who doesn't know, that I don't want to confuse them.